Welcome to another episode of The Lion's Den, brought to you by Red Lion. I'm your host for today, Gabrielle, and I'm so excited to be joined today by our very special guest, Marcel Van Helten, who's CEO at Red Lion. And today we're going to be talking about how Red Lion is solving their biggest challenge yet. And what's that? Well, that's the secure accessibility of data. But before we get into that, I'd love to hear from Marcel. So Marcel, welcome.
Welcome. Glad to be here. It's
Absolutely
a beautiful place.
I know it is a very beautiful day today here in Dallas. Well, Marcel, I want to start off by just asking, from your viewpoint, what are just some industry trends that we're seeing in the space currently right now, but also the ones that you foresee in the future kind of happening here, where they not just transform, but are also redefining the space in terms of industrial automation. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. So if you look at what the challenge the industry has, it's labor, correct? So that's one of the biggest challenges, how to get more productive. We don't have more people, we need to get more productive. So I think that's the biggest challenge, especially when we're looking at reshoring and all that sort of thing. So how do we deal with that? And then I think another threat was coming up is really about cybersecurity. I mean, you hear some horror stories about that. We know some examples like Stuxnet and other things would happen. So that is the other piece, what really comes into play. A lot of people trying to solve the same problem. So it's exciting to see that we have a lot of new entrants coming into the space. A lot of smart people who are in the software space using artificial intelligence, other software methods in order to really optimize plans. So I had a discussion with another colleague of mine and said, actually, you know what? Industrial manufacturing is cool again. Industrial automation is really cool again. We got the in-stream of a lot of new talent because who are excited by doing artificial intelligence and not just creating a simple app, but actually do something which you can see in the manufacturing floor and you see the results straight away. And that after years where there a lot of the, let me say, there was a lot of aging talent leaving the industry. So a lot of people retired and we didn't have a lot of new people in the industrial automation industry. So it's challenge. It's exciting to see actually that new people coming on board. Yeah. So, but the biggest challenge there is how do we put it all together, actually delivering solutions which work for customers. You know.
It's always exciting seeing the new generation move into the industry. Yeah. But how do these trends align, do you think, with this new generation coming in, especially with what customers are facing today with this? How do these trends align with that? And just tell me more about the challenges that you're seeing time and time again that you see customers facing in particular.
So the biggest challenge what customers have if they start implementing advanced technologies like AI or cloud-based stuff, all the cool stuff, is having access to the right data. I forgot who it was. Actually, without the right data, you're just somebody with an opinion, yeah. And it is the same is probably true from an AI system. If you don't have the complete data, and you have the complete data sets, which is normalized and contextualized and in the right quality, your analyzers are probably not as good. Yeah. So I think that's where people struggling in make sure that we got the right data. And the new generation coming in doesn't necessarily know what's happening on the plant floor in the automation in the space. So having that combination, and I think we're filling that gap. So we understand that the OT space, we are OT people, we understand what's happening on the plant floor, but we actually also understand the needs of the IT team to make sure that we got the data. And that's why we said, let's make sure that we're well positioned between that OT layer and that IT layer so we can give the IT layer the right data while not disrupting and make sure that the OT layer stays secure.
Well, you started to answer my next question here, which is how Red Lion is addressing this. What is their role in addressing these kinds of challenges?
It's really to make what we say, connect you to your data, correct? So whoever you are, whatever consumer you are for the data, we want to make sure that you have seamless access to that data in a secure way. So that's what our products do. So we basically have solutions which, if you have a remote asset and you need to communicate to that remote asset and get data out of that remote asset, we do that. If you need to connect in-plant assets together, or you need to connect a asset or machine with, for example, a SCADA system or an MES system, we actually provide solutions for that in our Connect. And if you're looking at the plant floor, you want to have an operator interaction with the machine, we do that through our Visualize segment as well. And by the way, all those products are nowadays also capable of connecting data into a, for example, cloud environment. So yeah, that's what we do. We are the industrial data company. We connect you with your data, and we make sure you got the right data in order, that you can create value out of that by using artificial intelligence or other methods, what you want to choose.
Creating value and informed decisions through having the correct data to begin with. Well, you actually use the term the industrial data company a lot. So what do you mean by that initially? And just, how does Red Lion end up empowering customers to solve these challenges that we're talking about through the industrial data company? What does that mean?
Yeah, so when I joined the company and I looked at everything we do, and you look for a common theme in everything you do, correct? So we had a automation segment, we had a panel meter segment, we had a networking segment, and you look at that, and the common thing about all those things is actually data, industrial data, not normal industrial data, real-time data, and you start looking at what we're actually doing. You look at the applications we do with customers, and it's all about taking data out of an asset and provide that data to another person to make a decision. And you start digging into it and talking to customers more, and you really figure out that you're really good at that. So I said, that's what we do. We do the industrial data. So we are the industrial data company. Yeah. And so we start talking about it and talk to customer about it and say, yeah, that's what you do. That's why we rely on Red Lion for that industrial data. And it can be protocol conversion. We have a big segment of protocol conversions where we basically connect one automation controller to another through a very simple protocol converter. And people love the way we do that. We can connect a data, for some customers, connect data out of a controller, out of a PLC, and we connect it to a cloud environment within 50 minutes without a single piece of code written. We have a no-code environment, and it's so simple to use. So people say, yeah, we rely on you guys for our industrial data. I said, okay, that's what we are, the industrial data company. How simple is it?
It's simple, yeah.
Yeah, and we are D with capitals because I think we're the only one who really do it well.
Well, it is, yeah, that's true. And it is encouraging to also hear that from your customer base, because it's one thing to believe that as a company, but also to hear it from who you're serving. Yeah. Well, you mentioned technology, or not technology, but you mentioned segments earlier. Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit more about that, just in how they enable customers to actually connect to their data.
Yeah, so access is all about, as the word says, remote access. Yeah. So we just bought a company, it's called MB Connect. And their business is secure remote access, give transparent remote access to a PLC in the field. So for example, for service purposes. So you want to service a machine and you want to make sure that you do that in a secure way so you don't open the customer up for cyber attacks. So that's one way of doing that. So that's what we have solutions. And the second thing is what we are doing. We're actually helping, and some people call it IoT or industrial Internet of Things, which actually it is basically we have devices, appliances, which is hardware and software combined, which allow you to connect to different PLCs in the field, put that data together, and then simply transfer it into a customer environment, which could be a centralized cloud environment. So there's access. So Connect is all about connecting assets in plant. It's our networking, our industrial Ethernet business. It's a combination of our Entron acquisition and SixNet acquisition. And we help customers basically either connect two robot cells together or connect two robot cells to, for example, a central plant management system. And we do that very well, very ruggedized. And then visualize traditional Red Lion strength and where we're coming from for panel meters. Basically, it started out to actually take the data from a sensor and bring it to an operator in a very simple panel called a panel meter. Now, we just redefined that category by PM50, where we take that same data, but now we actually can bring it up to the cloud as well through that, or through your app, which is pretty cool. And then we have that whole graphite and CR1000, 3000 segment, the operator interfaces, which we really, do from normal things we use in the food and beverage plant to up to ruggedized operator interface we use in the oil fields. Here out in Midland and I don't know what was last summer, 120 degrees or something out there. Worst summer ever, and our equipment continued to work. So that's what we basically do, and help customers to visualize that data on the asset.
Fantastic. Well, as we start to close up here, Marcel, I want to ask you, what you're most passionate about in terms of Red Lion. Just what are you looking forward to? What makes you passionate about this company and what it is you do?
It's the team. Yeah. So it's the innovation. The market is there. Yeah. The market will grow. So the question is, how do we get the team aligned? So we exist for 50 years. We've been producing in New York for the last 50 years, doing a great job, but how do we take that whole team and bring it to the next 50 years? I'm not looking for the next 50 years myself, but so how do we do that? How do we get the team energized, innovative? I mean, we're on a very good path. I think the team is great. I love working with the team, and our global team, by the way. It's and I think that excites me, and that excites our customers as well. Yeah, to talk about innovation, talk about things we can do with our product, bring out the new stuff, help customers to create value out of that industrial data. So it's pretty cool what we are doing currently.
It is. A company is only as good as its team, so it's always wonderful
it's all
to
about
hear
people.
that.
It's about the people.
It is a people game. Well, that wraps up the conversation for today. So thank you, Marcel, for joining us today on this episode of The Lion's Den. It was a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah.
Of course. And as always, if you'd like to learn more, please visit redlion.net and look for this podcast wherever it is you get your podcasts at. I've been your host, Gabrielle. Thanks for tuning in.